Shrink Different with Dr. Wolf, the change agent.
Well, good evening, everybody. This is Steve Wolf here, Doc Wolf, ready to kind of welcome in the holidays here as we head into high gear, stuck in traffic, standing in lines at your favorite stores. This is the dark side of Christmas. So today, though, I thought that the theme that we were going to work with was parenting. And hopefully you all will start to write in a few more letters or call up. Mr. J, can you give the phone number to everybody?
Oh, yeah, the call-in number is 405-316-8964. That's 405-316-8964 when we get the call-in portion. And I want to say Merry Christmas, Doc.
Yeah, same to you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. It's a nice time of year, you know, I think preparing for Christmas, and there's so many different feelings. You know, we talk about emotional intelligence. There's so many different kinds of emotions that can come up in the holidays. Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of the best, the easiest and the hardest. The connections and the love and the people, and then others, maybe it's just being alone and not having what you'd like, and it's just a time for a lot of emotion is what it is.
Oh, yeah. It's an extremely emotional time of year.
Say again?
I said it's an extremely emotional time of year. I mean,
yeah.
Like you, I mean, just all the different things, especially, you know, anger, angst, love, joy, happiness, sadness. I mean, all those things come into play at this time of year.
Yeah, just a lot of emotion. And I don't think it's any accident that it's at the moment of the winter solstice. It's the darkest time of the year. And we've hit the darkest time of the year. We're coming into the light now. Every day gets longer. So what should we talk about parenting? I would love it if I could answer some of your questions or deal with some of your issues to structure what we talk about. Otherwise, I'll just start to talk. I consider myself to be kind of a radical when it comes to education and parenting. And, for instance, one of the things is that you can't give your kid too little electronic stimulation. Now, Mr. J, I have a lot of feedback on my end. Is it possible to reduce that?
Give me one. Yeah, let me take a shot at it, Doc. Let me see here.
Yeah. So you can't give your kids too little electronic stimulation. I believe that what happens is we get addicted, especially the younger generation who are born into the world in our culture. They're born into this world of electronic stimulation, and I believe that we develop an addiction. And the addiction is a way to not have to deal with a lot of feelings you're having or challenges you're having. Maybe you feel alone. Maybe you don't know how to do something. Maybe there's a problem going on at home. And the kids are fascinated, and it makes the greatest babysitter, that's for sure. I'd like to walk your kid down in front of the television set. Now, the feedback was not happening for a moment, and it started up again, Mr. J.
Yeah, I don't know if that's because of cell phone towers or what, because I haven't done anything.
I see. Okay. So, in terms of raising a kid, I say they shouldn't have any television at all. And if you're going to use the TV to babysit, use it as a monitor. Use it to play things that you've already screened. Because when you plop a kid in front of one of those cartoons, they're filled with violence. And then the kid, what does the kid know? They don't. They just imitate. And so the other part is, if the kid doesn't have the electronic babysitter, he or she is going to have to figure out how to play, which actually is what brain development is about. There are schools of thought that say that when you start to teach a kid academics to read or to write prematurely, they may look like they're learning it. Look, just about every kid is going to learn how to read and write. But at early stages of development, the brain actually develops with stimulation of relationship. It's the love bond. It's what happens while you're sitting with Grandpa and your little kid reading a story. It's the connection. It's what happens when a kid sees a stick and a leaf and puts it together to make a funny-looking hat. Or they start to build a fort. Or create a fairy tale out of it. In the creative act itself, the brain is developing. You're laying new track, possible connections in the brain. Later on, in adolescence, early adolescence, around the age of 12 years old, now all that track that you laid as a kid becomes ready and desiring of information about the world. Because the kid is coming out of a small little world of a child now, and the family, and ready to expand into groups and schools and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And the brain now is ready to take things in like arithmetic and concepts and thinking. So the funny part is, hello? Yeah, hello? Did I lose you?
No, you got it, Doc. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the actual potential for IQ, the skills, is really built around emotional development as a kid. It's the bonding. So when a kid is interrupted, scared, abandoned, stuff like that, that inhibits the development of their thinking brain. We talk again about the three brains. I know I've repeated it. You got a thinking brain that lets you have language, memory, imagination, and arithmetic. And then you've got the ancient reptilian brain, the primitive brain, which is breathing you right now and beating your heart and regulating your temperature. And then you have your emotional brain. The emotional brain is called the limbic system. So the limbic brain develops around relationships, and you could say is all about relationships. People don't understand when they're raising their kids that they're actually developing their emotional brain. What a concept. What a concept. So when you're teaching kids and being with your kids, the idea is to be present with them. And there's one exercise I like. They refer to it as special time. Because look, a lot of families, everybody's busy with plenty of stuff to do. But if you can spend 20 minutes a day with your child, doing what the child wants, not what you want. You're not on the phone and you're not making dinner, you're not washing the dishes, you're not watching television. You're going to hang out for 20 minutes with your kid, and you're going to ask her, what would you like to do? Would you like to play today? What do you want to do? Want to read a book? What would you like to do? To go for a walk, play under a tree? And for 20 minutes, you're hanging with your kid in the way that they want. They say the connection that happens in that 20 minutes a day, that special time, and you can call it special time, is so deep that it really allows the child to develop and trust that relationship and feel that they're being related to and heard. Pretty powerful and really simple. Obviously, if you have 3 or 4 kids, you got to figure out how to do it. But the idea is to give the child what the child needs emotionally. So as they grow up and evolve, that their ability to relate and develop their emotional intelligence is also growing. Last week we got interrupted with a system failure, but we were talking about emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is a way of knowing. It's a way of knowing stuff. Now, you can't help having an emotion, because your emotional brain produces emotion like your reptilian brain produces heartbeat. You can't help what you feel. But you are responsible, and you get the challenge of figuring out how to express it. So emotional intelligence means, to me, brand new field in psychology, 25 years old. For one, you have self-awareness. You know what you're feeling. And people who have a high level of development of emotional intelligence know what they're feeling, and they know how to express what they're feeling so that they can be understood. A lot of kids, and men and women, typically men, don't even know what they're feeling. They don't even know that they're having feeling. They may know they're pissed off, but they don't know what the primary feeling underneath it is. So you can help your kids develop their emotional intelligence by talking about their feelings and acknowledging how they feel from a very young age. Now, many of us, of older generation, and still now, were raised in families that never even acknowledged feeling. They never even acknowledged that feelings existed. There was no language for feeling. Nobody cared what you felt. And so, in that environment, we have to figure out what does that whole world of feeling mean. Now, it's not just feeling, it's the one who feels. There's a dimension of our soul that feels. Some part of us feels. It's the emotional brain. It's not just feelings. It's the dimension. It's like, think of a rope made of strands. And if the psyche were made of strands, one strand would be your emotional brain, that part of you that feels. Now, some have described the feeling as our capacity to experience our depth as a human being. So, and that's the soul. That's a definition. It's a kind of a psychological definition of the soul. The soul is the part of us that has the capacity to feel and experience. That is the soul. And so when there is no language for the soul, there is no feeling recognition, there's no ability to have who you are expressed and heard, then you got to figure out how to deal with it back in the loony bin, which is what I call the place where we're all raised. Everybody's raised in one kind of loony bin or another. So if you're raised in a home and nobody talks about their feelings and all you see is maybe no feelings or angry feelings or scared feelings or this or that, it all gets absorbed in the unconscious. And now you have to figure out how to take care of yourself. And you're going to develop particular patterns of behavior to take care of your feelings. Now, if there's a way of recognizing your feelings and expressing your feelings, and you learn how to do that as a kid, then guess what? When you're a teenager, you know how to do that. I know many kids who are now young men and women who learned how to do that at an early age. And they seem to avoid a lot of the chaos